Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful morning, June 15th, 2022. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, to talk strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, but ultimately we're here to support each of you. Today, we're going to talk on the topic of financial literacy, but concurrently, we're going to talk about lead generation. So the point is, we can, as technical advisors, that's what you and I are. We're technical advisors. We do three things, don't we? We help build financial literacy, which is number one. Number two, we help small businesses develop and create lender compliant loan packages. And number three is we help them get credible enough to get at least $100,000 of funding guaranteed. So those are the three things that we do. So financial literacy was the first of those three, and that makes sense because there is a lot of financial illiteracy. There's certainly no shortage of small businesses that may be pre-launch, startup, or existing that want and need capital to start, to grow, to reach their potential. So the beautiful thing about the business model that you and I are in together is that there is immense need for what you and I do. The challenge is that many small business owners that want and need capital to start, to grow, to reach their potential, they often don't know what they don't know. They just think, oh, I just need funding, right? Just give me funding. But we have to be credible enough on paper to get approved. Now, another fact that you and I know is that there are many different sources of capital, and each source of capital has its own underwriting criteria. Just like if we wanted to make dinner together tonight, there's many different recipes, many different things that we could make, but we probably should pick a recipe that we have the ingredients for. Or if we don't have the ingredient for the recipe, something that we can get to be able to either substitute or meet the recipe. So that's, I think, a good analogy of what you and I do is we need to create financial literacy. We need to educate small business owners. And by doing so, it'll create the funnel. Those of you that are white label partners, I know that each of you strive, you desire, you're committed to helping at least 8 clients a month. If you follow this concept that we're going to talk about today, looking at the sample flyer on the screen, then you'll be able to blow that number out of the water. If you're simply a referral partner and you're more of a dabbler, again, this will help you generate significant volume, and volume means both clients helped and income to you. Okay, so with that preface done, let's look at the flyer itself, and I'll zoom in just a moment. So this is an older flyer. So this is not what you would use. This is not what you would share with someone else. This is a flyer that was used when I was the entrepreneur professor. I was a full-time business professor at TJC. And so we won't use this flyer exactly as it is. We'll change it up if you decide that you want to help educate, and we're going to go through those details. But this is the flyer from before, just so you can see it, and then we can edit it as needed. So let's talk about the highlights of the sections of the flyer, which will help you maybe better understand what I'm proposing that you and I do together. And then, of course, this will be edited based upon your unique educational webinars that you want to help facilitate. So, of course, title is important. And while the technical content that we're going to go through in this presentation is called the 27 mistakes. And if you haven't viewed it, you can go to 27mistakes.org, and it's available on demand as a YouTube. We'll get to the delivery of that content here in a few minutes. But the title that we learned when I worked at TJC and we had these sponsors, and again, these aren't your sponsors, these are the sponsors when I did this workshop, these webinars in the past. So again, that'll have to be changed. This is not how your folks will register. This is how they registered for these events. We'll have to edit it for you, of course. But the point that I'm trying to make More specifically, is title is important. And what we found that worked best is accessing capital to start or grow a small business. Now, in truth, this can be offered as an in-person workshop, which we used to do before the pandemic. We held them at Work Hub, which is a co-working space, kind of like a Regis or a co-work work hub. What's the big one? So we have Regis and I guess it's co-work. But anyway, so with that, this is the title. We're going to plan together to conduct webinars. And so you don't have to do this, but if your pipeline's not what it needs to be, we need to probably do something different. There's no shortage of leads. We've talked about leads. We can provide you infinite number of leads, but sometimes what we need is a next step to take the lead, to educate them, and then to convert. Convert means to enroll. So we're going to build this platform off of webinars. Now, again, we used to do them as in-person workshops. They can be done as in-person workshops, but the complexity goes up considerably. And so rather than trying to train and support each of you to do in-person workshops, well, as a society, we've become more accustomed, more willing to do webinars. We're going to focus this on webinars. So we have the title. The title is Accessing Capital to Start or Grow a Business. It's going to be conducted via webinars. Now, the frequency, now we're up here to the top right-hand corner. Of course, this can be edited based on what you want to do, assuming you want to help teach these at all. Why would you want to help teach these? Because it's going to make you a shitload of money, because it's going to be a very excellent funnel builder to move prospects into leads, into conversions. Now, this is an aggressive approach, so I understand that this may not meet your preference. But if you have these on a daily basis, you'll have extraordinary results. Well, why is that? That seems like a lot, Tom, you might say. Well, you want to remove obstacles in driving your prospects to become leads, to become conversions, so you make money and they get the resources that they want and need, which we'll talk more about in a minute. One way to reduce obstacles is how much thought they have to give. So for example, do they have to remember, well, is this webinar offered today or was that tomorrow? Was that last week or is it next week? So best practice, and again, you don't have to do this. This is aggressive. For those of you that want to earn $100,000 a month, literally, as a referral partner, as a white label partner, you will follow this type of aggressive approach. If earning $100,000 a month is not your goal, then you can back off of that. But what we learned is that having consistency is important. So you could even do it 7 days a week. Here, it's proposed to do it each weekday evening. You might say, well, evenings aren't a good time for me. I need to be with my family. I have to be at my job, whatever. Of course, you can edit to be whenever you want. I know that it's very easy to can a Zoom webinar, well, like 27mistakes.org, right? That is a hyperlink to a prior training that I did. And so you might say, well, why don't we just cut through the chase and just have it as on demand? And so that's not a bad strategy, which it already exists, I guess. But there's something about having a live event that people are invited to and that you're having interaction with them that will generate more confidence, more trust, and more conversions. Plus, you can also have a registration process. So even if they don't show up, you can follow up with. So do you have to do it multiple times a week? No, you don't have to. Best practice would be to do it daily, at least Monday through Friday. Do you have to have these in the evenings? Of course not. But having the same time each day is very powerful. Okay, so now let's work our way down. Instead of having a long, drawn-out conversation about what the attendee would expect to learn, we're just going to hit the nail on the head, and it's exactly what they're going to receive. They're going to learn how to meet the credibility factors required to get approved for business funding. Now, with that being said, I know what you know and what you're thinking. Man, a lot of people want money and they don't really care about credibility factors. They just want to sign up to something. They want to pay no money. They want to do no work, and they want lots of money sent to them right away. I understand. But reality is not that, is it? Reality is we need to build their financial literacy because they often don't know what they don't know. And we need to get them credible enough to get funding. And so that's what we're going to honestly tell them about. We're not going to sell them anything as we go through the 27 mistakes. We're going to educate them. So this is a good point to talk about the two variant approaches. So if you wanted to do this, to facilitate these webinars, there's one of two ways you could do it. And it doesn't cost you anything, of course, so there's no pitch for me to you. But you could either schedule these and then play a canned version. So you have a live opening, you have the canned presentation, and you have a live closing. So that's one scenario that would put the least amount of burden on your shoulders. And then the other approach would be to do it live all the way through. So we can provide you the actual PowerPoint slides and you can go through it if you would like. Those are two different options, your preference. Also, this can be set up with specific groups. I was visiting with one of you yesterday that's very much involved with a large women's entrepreneurial organization focused on women entrepreneurs, obviously. So you could certainly go to key influencers, churches, chambers, organizations, and do this in cooperation with them. And that's where the co-branding could come in. So again, you're not going to use this flyer exactly as it's stated because it's not right for you, right? This is old information of registration. We would need to put in how they would register for your Zoom. These are not your sponsors. These were the sponsors when I used to teach it. But the bottom line is we can substitute in. And so maybe it's a church or a chamber or a business organization that you're collaborating with. Well, you definitely want to give them exposure, use their logo, of course, with their permission, because that creates trust because there's an existing relationship between the entrepreneurs and that what we'll call host. All right, so then we explain it's a 1 hour informational webinar and there's no sales involved, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't feel sleazy on that. To learn how to better position your business to access funding from debt or equity-based capital. And we do like to address it from both debt and equity-based capital. What we know is that some people want and need funding to start to grow, to reach their potential, but they don't want debt. They don't want money that they have to pay back. They don't want to have interest rates. They don't want to have to worry about debt payments. So some people just don't want debt. So this approach works regardless if they're looking for debt or equity-based. There's all different types of funding, but we just give a quick overview here. That's not really worth our time. We want to answer the question of why people should participate. And what we used at the college is the concept of knowledge and capital. So it says your attendance at this 1 hour webinar will prepare you for success. Everyone is welcome, regardless if your business is pre-launch, startup, or mature. And we explain a little bit about the knowledge that they're going to receive. But the capital, this is the takeaway. So why would people want to attend? We'll talk about why they would want to attend, and then we'll go back and revisit why you would want them to attend. Why would they want to attend? Well, first of all, they're going to, just as the bold heading states, there's no shell game, there's no misrepresentation. We're going to be covering credibility factors to get approved for funding, the 27 mistakes. We're going to deliver exactly what we promised we would, nothing different. So that's one reason that they would want to attend, right? Which makes sense. That's the pitch. But also then, afterwards, then what you're going to do is convert them into one of your programs. And you could either convert them into the free 4-week funding program, or you could convert them, if you're a white label partner, into your white label access to capital. That would be your choice of how you want to pivot them afterwards. So if you have because we know we can get you the leads. There's no shortage of leads. It's public information. Every new business that sets up an LLC, C Corp, S Corp, even a DBA. Leads are not a problem. The issue is, how do you move those leads into conversions, into clients? We're proposing that together we educate, use financial literacy to move them forward. And so you can bring them into this presentation so they learn more about credibility factors. They get more comfortable with you and familiar with you in the process. And then afterwards, you sign them up. And it all starts with a registration. You're going to always want to register people. You don't want no-shows. I'm sorry, even if you have a no-show, then you can follow up with them. So again, the registration process wouldn't be this. It would be based upon how you want to register. Eventbrite is a good option. Eventbrite is a way to register guests, and it doesn't cost you anything since the attendees are not paid. So if you wanted to participate in this is an effective way to help take your prospects and move them into leads and move them into conversions through financial literacy. And then from your perspective, what's good about it for you is it's a vehicle to generate more income, right? At the end of the day, what you know is that you're going to be paid 5% of the capital raise of every client if you're a referral partner, or closer to 15% of the capital raise if you're a white label partner. So you're going to make, let's just say, a range of $5,000 to $15,000 for every client that comes through the process. And so we know if you're a white label partner, we want to help you do that at least 8 times a month. If you're a referral partner, you can do it more or less. So I want to shrink this down and then now focus on the questions, comments, concerns that each of you have. Because what we're asking, if you want to do this, is that you need to let us know. We need to create a game plan. We need to modify this flyer, because you wouldn't use this flyer, right? This is not your flyer. You don't have permission to use the college's logo. I did, because I was a full-time employee as a college professor there. You don't have permission to have people call Work Hub. I don't even know if they're still in business, but you don't have permission to have everyone call Work Hub to register for your workshop, right? Because they're not involved with your workshop. So the point is, this is a template. It's a real example of a flyer, but in your perspective, it's a template that we would need to edit to fit your circumstances. All right, so curious of feedback, and it's okay if you respond back and say, hell no, I don't want to do this. But if you are a distribution partner of ours, then obviously you have a desire, I would think, to do 2 things, to help people and to make money. Do you have to follow this model to help people and make money? Of course not. But we're halfway through the month of June. It's real easy to stop and say, okay, how much money have you made the first half of June? And if you're on track of the income that you want, you need, that you feel like you deserve, then you may not want to do anything different. But for some of us, we may look at where we're at halfway through the month and say, you know what? I'd like to give this a try. I'd like to give this a try. All right. And so, Maya, thank you for your feedback. So all you need to do is just email me and let me know that you're interested in doing this. There's no cost. There's no strings attached, but we need to get a plan together. It's key to have a plan. And so what's part of the plan? The plan would be, what frequency do you want to do it? When do you want to do it? Are you going to include a host or hosts, sponsors, if you will, or not? And then, of course, we need to have the registration engine set up. Getting the prospects to invite is the least of our worries. So we will never be concerned about that for one of 2 reasons. Either we can work with hosts that can provide their sphere of influence, like WorkHub. WorkHub was my host. And so especially when I did it in person, they provided me the room, they provided me the technology. The Greater Texas Capital Corporation fed all the people. We had really nice dinner buffets set out, more finger foods. I probably made it sound too glamorous, but nice food and drink when it was in person. But we can either get the people to market this to either through host and sponsorships or just leads lists. And again, there's no shortage of leads lists. All right, so thank you, Maya. Excited that you want to do this. Carlos asked about payment, and that's good. It's perfectly fine to be asking questions about what's in it for you. So regardless if you're a referral partner or a white label partner, compensation comes to you, just as you asked, Carlos, as each tranche of capital is raised. And so it may be that they get all 100,000 in one tranche, or it may be in two tranches or more. But as the money is raised by the client, then that is generating revenue for you. But Carlos's question, just to reiterate to everyone, he's asking, does he have to wait to get paid until each client reaches 100,000? And the answer is no, it's real time as the process occurs. All right, so I'm interested in feedback, not asking for any commitments, not asking you to sign up or pay anything, but just looking for feedback. What are your thoughts, Alfred and Ben and Bernard and Carlos and Charles and Erica and Hamid and Joseph and Lon, Maya's already told, Pauline, Terrence, Veronica, Victor, Vincent. We've got, what, 118 of you on this morning. So I'm not going to read every name off, but just if you would respond back into the Q&A, it's kind of like a chat box of Zoom. What's your feedback on this? Do you think it's needed? Do you think that I'm wasted, and you're not going to hurt my feelings, but do you think this is a waste of time? Do you think small businesses already know that they need to become credible, and they know how to become credible, and this is just BS? Say it if that's the way you feel. That's not been my experience, but that's okay if that's the way you feel. But if you do feel that there is an issue with financial literacy of small businesses, then secondly, do you think that there are small businesses that want more money? No, I think so. I don't know how you would argue that there's not a thirst, not a demand for capital of small businesses. So I think we've confirmed that there's a need for the financial literacy, and I don't think any of us can refute that there's a shortage of small business owners that want and need capital. So then we get to the point, is this the right approach? It used to be that we focused a lot on face-to-face education. The pandemic forced us to move to more of a webinar approach, but I think it's going to be easier for many of you to take a webinar-based approach. You don't have to go secure the room. You don't need to have multiple staff, because when we did live events, including at Work Hub, I mean, this is real. I was doing live events at Work Hub, I think it was the third Tuesday of every month. And so it took a lot of coordination, right? But doing it online via Zoom, a lot less work. And then again, as the facilitator of this, as the distribution partner, you have two ways to implement this if you want to implement. Number one is you can implement it based upon having a live opening, play the recording of the 27 mistakes, and a live closing. And you can always pause it while the recording if there's a question that comes up. If you're not really quite that confident yet, you'd say, what some people will say, I don't want to do this because I don't want to be asked questions that I don't know yet. Okay, granted. We do that's probably the biggest barrier that keeps a lot of our referral partners and distribution partners in general from being successful, is they don't want to feel vulnerable. They don't want to be asked a question that they can't answer. So with that being said, there's a way to play this. You open with a live intro, you play the canned presentation, and then your close is based upon getting them to sign up, and then they'll get one-on-one mentoring. So a bit of my background, and it's not patting myself on the back, but I think it's important just for you to understand the background. So I first worked for the SBDC, Small Business Development Center, which is funded by the SBA. And then I got recruited as a college professor, full-time college professor. The reason I mention this is I want you to understand that I also taught this when I worked for the SBDC, paid for by a grant from the SBA. But the point I'm getting to is at the end of the workshop, whether it be live or online, what you don't, and this is going to be controversial, so you may not like it, and it's okay if you don't like it. I feel strongly about it, but it's okay if you don't like what I'm about to say. You do not want to spend a lot of time at the end answering Q&A for the group. You do not want to do that. What you do want to do is move them into one-on-one. And so the way that would happen is after they've attended the webinar, you close up respectfully, not like your pants are on fire, but you want to wrap it up and say, okay, great. I'll follow up with each of you so we can have a confidential one-on-one discussion to address any questions and see if our grant subsidized program might be a resource for you. Because the more you talk to that group and start answering questions, number one, the less likely they are to do a one-on-one with you because they feel like, oh, their questions have been addressed. So you want to, what I did when I worked for the SBDC, full-time employed, funded by the SBA, at the live events, is I'd have a clipboard there and I'd have people sign up for a one-on-one using my clipboard. So it was just instant, not real fancy, but instant. Of course, this is webinar based. So what you would want to do is probably set up a Calendly link or something like that, have some mechanism for them to get with you, or just simply send them your link. If you're a referral partner, you should have a link that you can send them so they can go ahead and enroll. You get credit, cost them nothing to go through the free 4-week funding program. If you're a white label partner, depends upon how you have that set up. But the point I'm trying to make is at the end of the presentation, you don't want, in my opinion, you don't want to spend a lot of time taking the audience questions and answers. You want to funnel them in to, you want to move them into your sales funnel, which could be getting them your link, which would then enable them to receive one-on-one mentoring and or schedule a call with them. All right, so let's see if there's any other comments or questions. As we move forward, for those of you that want to move forward with this, again, it's an editable template. And so what we won't have, of course, is necessarily these dates and times that can be changed based on what you want. If you want to have it just once a week, say, I think it's a week approach, but a week approach is better than none. So if you want to say, okay, I want to commit one evening a week, I'll do it on Tuesday evenings from 6 to 7 Central. That is a lot better than doing no financial literacy, but you will not generate near the results of having a commitment of having it the same day, same time, consistently. And I know when I approached some banks, and so this flyer would change based upon the event itself. But as I would market to banks that would refer me clients that would attend the workshops when we're doing them live, they really liked that they knew when the workshop was going to be. They didn't have to go find a calendar and say, well, is it held this week or not next week or what have you? So consistency and accessibility is going to make you a lot of money. But it's a commitment, right? So let's say you are a white label partner. Let's take Joseph. Joseph's a big hitter up out of Arkansas. Joseph's a busy guy. He's licensed realtor, makes a lot of money already. So I'd have to really lean on Joseph to get him to do this. But if I said, Joseph, what if I could show you, spend 5 hours a week, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, do this, and you'll make $100,000. I'm confident you will make $100,000 a month spending 5 hours a week facilitating this. And again, Joseph's smart. He could teach it live, but he also could just play the recording with a live opening and live closing. So would there be any other time involved other than those 5 hours? Of course. But the point is, there's going to have to be some time commitment if we want to earn adult money, because we're probably not going to go win the lottery. We're probably not going to go to Vegas and win a bunch of gambling money. That's very unlikely, improbable. So we're going to have to put some time into it. But if you were willing to put 5 hours a week, and you don't have to do it this way, but that can, or 7 is even better. Every day at 6 to 7 p.m. is even better. Every day is magical. Then you will generate great results. Again, we're never worried about leads. We can always get the leads to invite, and this is a very credible and important message. If you push back and you said, "Hey, I don't have confidence what you guys are going to talk about in this," be a pessimist. That's fine. Well, go to 2727mistakes.org, and that is what we teach. Now, again, if you want to play the recording of that, you can play that. We can get you the editable slides, and you can, teach it your way, brand it your way if you want. That's fine. But I don't think there's any question about the value of the content. It's not some sales pitch. It's not some timeshare proposition of, I'll recruit you in with a nice dinner, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're getting sold some bill of goods. Brana asked a good question. Can someone facilitate this but not have to do the mentoring of the clients? And that's absolutely correct, right? So with the hybrid approach that we've been talking about, Veronica, is that you can play the role of the referral partner, feed them into the free link that we provide. You can get a free link on 4weekfunding.org, 4weekfunding.org, FOUR, 4weekfunding.org. Set up as a referral partner, free. No production requirements, no strings attached. You'll be able to get a free landing page, and you can refer people into that landing page as the call to action. You might say, well, wait a second, I'm a white label partner. I want to earn more, but I don't want to do the mentoring. Well, that's what we call the hybrid approach, isn't it? So then at any point while those folks are going through the 28-day process, you could reach out to them. Let's just role play for a second. We got Carlos on the line here. And so I could give Carlos, let's say Carlos enrolled in the free 4-week funding program, and I'm not doing his mentoring, but I want to bring him into the access to capital, the white label version, so we can get him the funding, the guaranteed 100,000, and I can make my 15,000 off Carlos. Not out of his pocket, out of the funding, of course. So all I got to do is just give Carlos a call during that 4-week process, because you'll know that Carlos enrolled, because you'll be notified of it. He used your link. And I just say, hey, Carlos, I see that you're going through the free 4-week funding program. How's that going? And most likely Carlos is going to say some great things. Oh, it's awesome. I'm learning so much. I'm working on my business plan, getting my business credit bill. This is freaking awesome. And you say, well, great. Did you know, Carlos, that while you're actually going through that, we can go ahead and start your funding process now. We can get your FTF, your first tranche of financing, right now. Would you like to go ahead and do that? What do you think Carlos is going to say? 9 out of 10 times he's going to say, sure, everything's going well so far. And if you can get me funding even sooner than 28 days, let's do it. So then that's when you'd get Carlos signed up under your white label access to capital, and we'd get a funding app completed and get him his first tranche of financing right now, which generates money for you right now because you're getting a piece of that action. So let's see if there's any other questions I didn't address. All right, so quick summary. I'm running a bit long. Financial literacy is a very effective way of course, helping people improve their lives, but generating money for you. We don't make money directly off financial literacy normally, because it's not that we're selling them seats at our webinar or our in-person workshops. Instead, we educate for free. The presentation is the 27mistakes.org, which you can teach live or use a canned recording of. You would just have a live opening and a live closing. And you're going to then convert them at the close into either the free 4-week funding, or if you're a white label partner and you're not using the hybrid model, your access to capital. You won't use this flyer as it is. You don't have permission to use this flyer, right? You don't have the college's permission. I did because I was a professor there. You don't have permission to use Work Hub's information, right? I did because they were the sponsor of the event. So there's going to be, the point is there's going to be obvious changes to this, but I wanted to give you a real flyer to see, and then we can edit it based upon your events. So just simply send me an email if you're interested in helping teach this. There's no cost. There's nothing you have to sign up for. There's no strings attached, but we need to have a plan, right? And the plan includes how often do you want to have it? When do you want to have it? Are you going to use the live? Are you going to teach it live or use the canned version with a live opening and closing? How do we want to go about registering people? And again, we can guide you through this. It's not like you have to go recreate the wheel. And then do you have any sponsors or hosts? And you might not have any in the beginning, but I'm just telling you, this is so valuable to be able to go to churches, chambers, business organizations, banks, other organizations, key influencers, and co-market with them to their sphere of influence. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time. And if you have questions, comments, concerns, let us know. But regardless, if you're a referral partner or a white label partner, this is a great way to help more people and for you to generate more money. Our goal is for you to earn literally $100,000 a month. That's not unattainable. We need to help 8 clients a month. It's not hard, but we need to have a system in place. This may very well be an important part of your system. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow morning. Bye.